the scale doesn't mean everything. Look at, other factors like how are your clothes fitting? Are you getting stronger? Look at pictures. I always get clients to send pictures to me. They may not
Nice.
have lost a lot of weight, but they're like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize that my stomach looks different. I'm like, that's because you're changing your body composition and you don't even
Yep.
realize it. You know what I mean? So you have to look at other things. And I think people get so focused on the scale, and that can be very, very detrimental to their journey because it's not always about the scale.
Live your best life while working on your health and fitness goals. We're here to make your journey fun and inspiring. Welcome to the V-Shred Better Body, Better Life podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Better Body, Better Life podcast. I'm your host, Vincent, and today we have another one of our previous guests back who is also one of our V-Shred coaches, Kimberly, who is also a mama too. She's worked with a ton of our clients before, has her Bachelor's of Arts, her Fitness Management and Nutrition certification. She's the first certified personal trainer, certified bar boot camp instructor. And like I said, she's worked with a ton of our clients before, so she has a ton of experience. And today we're going to be talking about what to expect when starting a fitness journey. So, Kimberly, welcome and thank you for being on here with me.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody again.
Yeah, and we did an episode in the past where we talked about strength training versus cardio, and we got a lot of great responses from that. People found it super helpful. If you guys are liking what you hear in this and you like how Kimberly talks, and you want to hear more, go back and check out those previous episodes. But let's go ahead and just dive into today's episode and talk about starting a fitness journey, because obviously that's a pretty, I guess, overwhelming thing, because there's obviously so much information out there and everybody wants to get healthier. Everybody wants to lose 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 plus pounds, but they're not really sure where to get started, or they're kind of scared to get started, or they've tried stuff in the past and it didn't necessarily work, or they just don't really even think that it's really that big of a deal right now, and they wait until it's a life-altering decision. And so just starting off, why do you think it is so important for people to get ahead of the ball, get ahead of the curve, and get fitness started before you hear something scary from your doctor?
Definitely. And, I encourage all ages to exercise, whether you're a child, a teen, middle age, older adults. It can't hurt to, get started anytime. Obviously, the sooner the better, but it depends on where you've been and your own, specific journey. But it's so important. And it's not just for the physical component. It's also, mentally it's important. Emotionally it's important. Obviously, with exercise, we always attribute it to, weight loss and maintenance. And obviously that's a big part of it too. But in general, it's a combination of taking care of yourself physically so that it carries over into your mental and emotional health as well. And I tell a lot of my clients that I said, it's not just about, sweating and feeling it physically, but you're going to feel better overall, the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, the way you're dealing with situations in general. And it's also going to help you have more motivation to eat better, sleep better, and take better care of yourself in general. And obviously disease prevention. I mean, that's with any age. Like I said, you can't start too early. So many diseases creep up on people even in their 20s, 30s. So, the sooner you can start, the better, without a doubt.
Yeah. And it happens even more now with just mass production of food and ultra processed nonsense that people are just shoving into their bodies.
Right.
What would you say are some of the misconceptions people have when they are wanting to start a fitness journey?
Yeah, I think the main thing I hear a lot from clients is they don't have the time. That's probably one of the biggest things I hear. They have no time in their day to schedule it in, so that hinders them from even starting. So I think that alone can be helped. And I tell them, I said, schedule a time in your day where you're not distracted, where you kind of just put in your own me time. And I tell everybody it's so important to have that me time because, as busy as you are, you still need a mental break from everything. So I said, even with the V-Shred workouts or the workouts you're doing on your own, give yourself 30 minutes a day to start off. That's all you need. Find something you enjoy at first, when you're first starting off. And I tell people, even if it's just going on a brisk walk every day, get yourself started somehow and start slowly so that you don't get overwhelmed at first with everything. And then, then as you get accustomed to your workout, you add on little by little. But I think a lot of people just get overwhelmed at the thought of fitting it in their day, and they don't even know where to get started with it, So I think that is one of the, I guess you could say it's a misconception. They don't have time, but I think a lot of people get nervous too when they go into a gym setting. If they're heading into a gym, people like to go and then they get overwhelmed. Oh, I'm maybe not in the best of shape. All these other people are in great shape. And honestly, I tell people aren't even paying attention to you. They're doing their own workout, really, and just start off slow. You have to do it for yourself, and you can't worry about what other people are thinking. You got to focus on you, and you're going to get better as you keep doing it, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point, because, and I would even go as far as saying, like, the people, like, coming from somebody who is in the gym 5-6 days a week, every single week, when I see people in the gym that are new,
Right.
or that I haven't seen before, or I can tell are just like struggling with an exercise or kind of confused going around, I respect that even more, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to step in and maybe even offer a little bit of help if they want it. Like, I don't necessarily love when people just assume that they can give people advice in the gym, because some people just don't want it,
Yeah.
But some people do. And I would say that the people that get judged are the people that are like going in there with a bunch of ego and they're throwing around these weights and screaming and dropping
Yeah.
super heavy dumbbells, versus the people that are in there just trying to do their own thing, keeping to themselves. They're not talking to anybody. They're just like
Yeah.
trying to figure out the gym. And I mean, I got a bunch of big, bulky friends, and generally, like, people get scared because, like, the gym's filled with, like, some of those guys,
Yeah.
But those are like the nicest guys usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the guys that are more than willing to help you. And so, like, I would say, if someone, if you're listening to this and the gym does intimidate you, yes, that can be tough to get over. I think it's really just about creating a routine and familiarizing yourself with it. So, like, know what you're going to do before you go. That way, when you get there, you're not just walking around like a lost puppy,
Right.
And then also be willing to ask for help. Like, every gym has coaches walking around. If they're not working with somebody, they will be willing to help you. And
Yeah.
or just find somebody who looks like they're in pretty good shape. If someone came up to me and was like, I've had this happen all the time. If I'm doing an exercise that's maybe not a normal, like, chest press, it's like a different type of tricep
Yeah.
exercise, I'll have people come up and be like, hey, what muscle is that working? Why
Yeah.
do you like that? How can I do that? And I'm more than happy to help them. And so I think that's a great point. Then the time part as well, like, that's probably what you said, the most common misconception is that people don't have time.
Oh, that's probably I would say 85% of the time that's what I hear. Just with the,
Yeah.
people that have, especially, like, you hear a lot with, like, middle-aged people, because, a lot of them have families and they're working, and they can't fit any time in for themselves. Another thing I always suggest too, if you really have a hard time finding time, and you do have a workout plan, or you have one of the V-Shred workouts, I tell people, I said, take 2 days during the week, maybe get up a half hour earlier, or use your lunchtime if you would get that, or later in the evening. I said, do a half hour twice a week. And then on the weekends, if you're not working, which a lot of people don't work on the weekends, I said, get 2 more workouts in then, because then you've got 4 workouts in a week. At least you
That's
start,
great.
and so
Yeah.
that way you're not, like, during the week, you're still getting 3 days where you're sleeping in or having your evenings, whatever, but a half hour can do so much for people. And I don't think they realize that, how much better and how much more productive you can be just giving yourself some time, honestly.
100%. And a lot of it that goes into that 30 minutes is about changing their understanding of the type of workouts they should be doing. Because and we'll talk about this for everybody listening in our next episode, where we talk about exercise tips. I really would love to dive into just, like, the different types of workouts that people can be doing. But just the understanding of, or the acceptance of, knowing they don't have to spend an hour in the gym. They don't have to spend even 2 hours in the gym. I think people get so caught up with what these bodybuilders or like these physique athletes are doing, or what these people who are in incredible shape are doing, because some of them do live in the gym, you know? And I would say that some physiques are not necessarily attainable for some people just because they don't have the interest in dedicating that much time to it, you know?
Agreed.
For certain physiques, it can be a full-time job, you know? But it can also be really unhealthy to do that. And so if you're just somebody who wants to get a little healthier, wants to look a little bit better, have a little more confidence, be around for your grandchildren, then you don't have to be going and killing yourself in the gym. And you don't even have to be going to the gym, you know? And so accepting the fact that you don't have to spend an hour. You can do a great workout in 20. Some of the best workouts I've ever gotten have been 30-minute workouts.
That's actually a great point. I completely agree with you on that.
When I have all the time in the world, sometimes I'm just kind of lollygagging and I'm taking too long of rests and I don't even break a sweat and I might not get a great workout. But those times when I'm like, I get to the gym and I do my warm up and I'm like, okay, I need to be out of here in 38 minutes because I got to call at 3 or whatever. Yeah. Those are the best workouts I've ever gotten. Yeah. And so if you're intentional with it, you can really make your time, make the time your, you know what. And so, no, I love that. And so also I think another piece of it that people get intimidated by is the nutrition side. What role does nutrition play here?
Definitely. It plays a huge part. I mean, it goes hand in hand with fitness, along with, like we mentioned, sleep and hydration and stress management. But nutrition is so important. And I think, honestly, when you do start an exercise program, if you aren't already eating healthy, it may encourage you to start eating healthy. And by healthy, we mean, eating
because of the momentum, you mean, right?
Yeah. Knowing that you're, exercising, I might as well fuel my body so I get, the most out of what I'm doing. Why waste your time exercising if you're not going to properly fuel yourself? And, with nutrition, it's eating enough of the right foods, right? You want to get enough calories. I have a lot of people that think that they have to, eat 700, 800 calories a day. And I said, no, that's not what you need. A female needs at least 1,200 calories a day. And that's what we always, tell our clients in our meal plans. Obviously, it varies on your, certain specifics of your height and weight and whatever age. But you need enough of the food. You need to listen to your body. You need to fuel your body throughout the day. And it's choosing the right kinds of foods. Protein's so important. Huge. Protein is, everybody needs protein. And you need to fuel that. You need your carbs. You need your fats. But it's got to be healthy carbs and healthy fats. Your complex carbs, your healthy fats, and you need to find a good calorie and macro system that works for you. And like I said, if some people don't have the knowledge of that, and that's sometimes where we come into play, where we can help them with a meal plan or what have you, or the app also helps a lot of people. So nutrition's so important. The body needs to be repaired, and to do that, you need to feed it for sure.
Yeah, and I like what you said about the right kinds of food, because that's super important. Because 1,200 calories, whether it's that or like for a guy, what do you say? It could go up to 1,800, 2,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was gonna say 1,800 minimum for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then depending on like your age and body size and activity level, that can fluctuate, but 1,200 calories, let's say you're on the lower end for a female, you're a petite woman,
right?
You're eating 1,200 calories a day. 1,200 calories of, I don't know, microwavable frozen meals is not much food.
Exactly.
1,200 calories of whole foods that you cooked yourself, that you got from the grocery store, though, that's a lot of food. And I think people kind of don't realize that when they're first getting started, how much food you can make. Like if you're eating low calorically dense foods, it's a lot of food, versus if you're just eating what you like to eat all the time, and you're just being like, it's like Weight Watchers back in the day. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that, but my mom would do Weight Watchers, and she had this point system, and she would eat like Swedish fish, and then all of a sudden it'd be 5 p.m. and she's out of points, and I'm like, well, I mean, I didn't understand it back then, but now looking back, and she also understands it way more now too. But I'm like, man, if you would have just like had like like eggs and maybe some like
Quality.
Ezekiel bread in the morning, or
Yeah.
like you had quality food all
Yeah.
day, you're going to be eating so much more food, be so much more full, have so much more energy, and you're
Yeah.
not going to have to stop eating at 5 p.m. because you've already reached your caloric intake, you know? So I think that's a huge, huge point. What would you say is another misconception when it comes to nutrition?
Oh, and I was just going to bring this up before you asked me. I get so many clients that ask me, can I eat in the evenings? Like, can I snack in the evenings?
Ooh.
And I get that all the time. Like, oh my God, do I have to stop? I said, no, you
That's a
have,
great one.
we have, on our meal plans, we allow 2 to 3 snacks a day. And I tell my clients, if you've already eaten those, and you're still hungry and, you've hydrated, I said, by all means, people get into this mindset where they can't have food at night, but you can. It's just, again, back to the fact that you have to have quality food. So grab a protein snack, grab, a piece of fruit with yogurt or something like that, something that's going to satisfy you and fill you up so that you're not hungry overnight. Versus, the standard, let's go, grab chips or whatever people do at night that
Yeah.
they're used to. They're in such a
Or
habit.
order fast food or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people are like, I'm in such a habit of eating at night, and that's okay. But it's just choosing the foods that your body can do something with. And then you're not waking up
Yeah.
in the middle of the night hungry. Because I tell them, I said, if you're hungry at night, you have to eat because your sleep's going to get disrupted if you're that hungry and then you're waking up at night. So eat something. It's your body telling you it needs something, in it
Yeah.
to fuel
And
it.
would you recommend like leaning more towards certain macros late at night? Or do you think it's just
Definitely,
about more?
Yeah, it depending on, obviously if you're on a carb cycling plan, we try to follow the carb cycling day. If you're on a lower carb day, I try to tell the clients, find a good protein snack for yourself, nuts,
Yeah.
Yogurt. But then again, like if they're on a mid or high day, I said, throw a piece of fruit in there. Even, if you're even like you said, in a piece of Ezekiel bread or something, something that's going to fill you up with some peanut butter or something like that. Just something that, is going to take you through and help your hunger and making a healthy choice for yourself as well.
Yeah. And I also love what you said about you briefly mentioned as long as you're hydrated and you've hydrated.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big piece of it. And we
Huge.
mentioned when I brought up nutrition, hydration, and sleep. But explain what you meant and you've hydrated as to why that's important to understand when you're experiencing hunger.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of this myself because I'm sure I don't get enough water all the time during the day, especially when I'm out and, out and about or in the
Yep.
heat and, what have you. And you come home and you're like, all along you say, I feel so thirsty, and then you didn't drink, and then you come home and then what do you end up doing? You end up eating because you think you're hungry, but you're probably thirsty. So what I always tell clients, I said, as hard as it is, carry a water bottle throughout the day, hydrate, especially when you wake up in the morning because you haven't really usually drank all night. Hydrate in the morning, hydrate throughout the day. If you're working out, you need to be hydrated before, during, and after. And excuse me, you just need to make sure you're satisfied with your thirst before you go to food. Because often I do it myself. I find myself eating and then I'm like, oh, I'm probably just really thirsty. So then I drink water and then I'm full. So, I think you need to really find a balance with hydration. Also with the water, I do get a lot of questions about, do I always have to drink water? And obviously we want you to drink as much water as you can, but, having maybe like a diet drink once in a while is okay. But, you want to stick to water as much as you can. But again, coffee, I say have coffee if you need it, once a day. Excuse me. Like I said, a Diet Coke, but Gatorade once in a while is okay as well.
I heard a little bit of a accent there when you said coffee.
Coffee. I don't even drink coffee. I hate coffee, but everybody I know likes coffee. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm
I
not
tell
a
them
coffee guy either.
if
Actually,
they need it, go for it,
No, it's great that you bring that up because like I'm going to be completely honest here. Like I'm not a coffee guy, but I
Yeah.
am a sugar-free Monster Energy guy.
Yeah, I know.
People get shocked by that. And I'm not sitting here saying that that's the healthiest choice because I know for a fact it's got chemicals
Right.
in there that
Right.
are not good for my body, but I truly enjoy
Right.
like the like not the caffeination, but the carbonation, and I love the taste of it, and I just like the pairing with my breakfast, and it makes it so that I can have the same breakfast every single morning, and I enjoy it the same way I did 10 years ago when I started having this breakfast.
Right.
And so it's about like the balance of making great choices, healthy choices, and also living your life and enjoying what you are doing along the way.
Yeah.
And I also, it's like what you said about having like a diet drink. Like I'm also a sugar-free, caffeine-free root beer guy.
Yeah,
like
I like
just
I
a
love that.
A&W, caffeine-free, sugar-free. I've found that like if I have one of those with my dinner at night, like that's
Good.
the
Yeah.
highlight of my dinner. You know, I love, and I don't feel like I'm killing my diet because
Yeah.
everything else that I'm doing is like I'm on top of it. You know, I'm having the meals that I'm supposed to eat. I'm drinking tons of water. I have if you guys are just listening, I'm holding this water bottle that I have next to me literally all day. I actually get made fun of sometimes because I literally carry my shaker bottle everywhere. There's like a game that I play when I go on trips where I will take this through the airport, and airports nowadays, by the way, are really good about having those water stations that aren't just drinking fountains. They're like the water stations that are like recycled bottles saved or whatever. Every airport has those nowadays. And so you can also save money by carrying one. And then like it's literally a game now where it's like, does Vince lose his water bottle this trip? And so like I really try to not lose it, you know? But that's just going to show that I take it literally everywhere. I make sure that I'm prioritizing water. Is there an amount that you would recommend for guys versus girls?
I always tell because I think clients get overwhelmed when you tell them they have to drink so much a day. Like, I mean, they usually say what, half your body weight in ounces a day. And that's if you're sedentary. So, take a 150-pound woman, 75 fluid ounces a day is what they recommend. And that's for a sedentary person. So I would try to say get maybe at least half of your body weight in ounces. And keep in mind, you are getting some fluids from foods too. I always tell clients, if you're eating veggies, fruits, you're getting water with that too. But aim for half your body weight in ounces. And I know it's not always possible for everybody to just walk around with water all day long, depending on their job, but keep it in the back of your mind. You always want to hydrate. I mean, and then a lot of times it disrupts people's bathroom cycles and things at night. So find a system that works for you. Whether it's, you're drinking a lot in the morning, you're hydrating, while you're working out and after. I think it's just finding a nice balance that fits into your life where you're getting enough water for yourself, and you're feeling good, about it. I
think that's a good point because usually I'll recommend, like, I'll say guys aim for a gallon, girls aim for maybe 3/4 of a gallon, but I think people can probably get a little overwhelmed by the idea that like a gallon's a lot of water, like if you're not used to drinking water, you're going to be going to the bathroom a little bit more. And like, it's also about like maybe cutting off water after 7-8 p.m. or like 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. That way you do get your last couple bathroom breaks before you fall asleep, and then you haven't had much water recently, and so you're not waking up in the middle of the night. Like I don't have a problem because my body's so used to it, you know, but I wake up and I got to go, and so I love the idea of finding that balance. But okay, shifting back because I feel like we're kind of getting into the exercise tips, and I want to make sure that we're saving that for our exercise tips. That's my bad. But what would you say are some of the mindset shifts that are essential for somebody to make when they're starting a fitness journey?
Yeah, I think you need to start off slow all the time. I think you need to learn about like exercise first. Try to, read up on it, read up on some of the benefits, like educate yourself about why you're doing it. Figure out why you're doing this exercise. There's a reason why you are exercising, and you need to really focus on that. I think that will carry you through as you go. But starting off slow is
rather than just going through the motions, you mean?
Yeah. Start off slow. Find something you enjoy at first, whether it's, walking. Say you like just walking. Well, start off walking and then maybe increase the pace a little bit and then introduce some lightweight training. I think, and you need to watch too in the beginning that you don't, number one, get too sore where you get very discouraged, because some people do that where they start off really, they go crazy, they use too much weight, they're doing too much at once, and then they're like, oh, I'm so sore, I don't want to do this anymore.
Which I love. And I think people probably usually eventually start loving that.
Yeah,
but in the beginning, it's like this hurt, my legs hurt.
Like I can't
and
walk,
they don't really like
terrible,
it.
And
whereas like right now my calves are sore and I'm like, please grow.
Yeah,
I'm like, I hope that means something's happening.
Right, right, exactly.
So the more sore, the better for me. But I see what you're saying, where that can be like demotivating almost if somebody's so sore. Where they're like, am I always going to be this sore from working out? That's not worth it, Yeah.
And I tell clients, I said, start off slow. Like I said, find something you like. educate yourself on, some of the next steps, whether it's, maybe introducing some lightweight training, some core training, and stretch. I tell clients you have to stretch.
Mm.
After your workouts, especially because it will help prevent some of that soreness and fatigue, and you'll feel better for your next workout. I mean, I used to never stretch when I was younger. I thought stretching
None of us did. None of us did. We didn't need to be honest.
I didn't even want to. I'm like, oh, I don't need to stretch. I'm fine. Well, like within the last 10 years, since I've gotten a little older too, like I stretch probably 3 times a day, just because I feel better. And I have more energy. I can feel myself kind of getting like crunched up from sitting at a computer chair all day.
Yep,
just
100%.
Stretching. I mean, like, especially like I said, and if you stretch after your workout, give yourself 5 minutes, you're actually going to help your prevention of soreness. And you're going to be more motivated the next day to work out. You won't feel as sore and cramped up and fatigued. And I think, like I said, I think just starting off slow and then, gradually, maybe within a couple weeks, a month or so, changing it up a little bit, while still doing the activity you like, because I think some people love running, some people love to bike, but you have to add on as time goes on or you're not going to really reap the benefits,
Yeah, no, love all that. Stretching was something I never did back in the day.
Never.
Didn't warm up either. I would just get to the gym and throw a plate on each side of the bar, and my warm up would be like bench press that's a little too heavy to start with, But I was a kid. And my body could handle it. And I mean, kids are made of rubber until you're about 25, 30.
Right.
And then all of a sudden things start hurting a little bit more versus now, like I could be a lot better about stretching afterwards.
Yeah.
But mobility before, warming up before has been a game changer for me because
the act of stretching.
I do have a history of like injuries. And so like whether that's like little things like tennis elbow or like patellar tendonitis or big ones like disc herniations or like serious injuries that keep you out of the gym. Like I've experienced, like I've torn my pec, I've herniated discs, I've dislocated my AC joint, broken my collarbone. Like I've been through a bunch of injuries. And so like I have to make sure that I'm warming my body properly because I'm also like, as you get more and more experienced in the gym, like in the beginning, especially if you're a female, you're not going to be going and trying to throw around the heaviest weight possible. Right. Girls just don't have that same ego mindset that guys do, Right. But if you're a guy, it's really important because as you get, and even for girls, as you get more experience and you do start loading your body with weight that it's not used to, you're going to elevate your risk of injury, but you're going to decrease your risk of injury with proper warm up. And so loved what you said about stretching after to help out with that recovery. I could 100% be better at that. And then also loved what you said about changing things up. I always say this, just try stuff. Yes. Try different things. Like try boxing if you think it looks fun. Go try Pilates. Go do a boot camp class and see if you're more of a group exercise type of person. Yep. Just try things, and what you're going to find is that you don't like stuff and then you like stuff. Yeah. And you just stick to the stuff that you like, and it makes it a lot easier to stick to it.
Yeah. And like I said, you always have to worry about proper form is always very important, that was, I guess, something I should have mentioned when starting off. You need to do the proper form or you're going to, number one, injure yourself or risk injuring yourself. Yep. And number two, if you get hurt, you're going to say, why did I do this? I shouldn't have even done this. So proper form's important. And I can't stress enough about mixing things up because I have so many clients that, they come to me and I walk every day and, I really don't do a whole lot else. And I'm like, that's great that you walk, but there's other things we have to add in there to help your weight loss, to help your metabolism. So, that kind of thing. And, like you said, women have to keep in mind that they're not going to be, lifting as much as a man or, not going to be as strong as it's just not going to happen. So, my kids who are, 13 and 16 arm wrestle me and beat me every time. And I've been working out for like 30 years and I'm like, this sucks, but that's the way it goes. I've accepted it that, I'm not going to be stronger than them ever again. So that's the way it is.
I'm sure you got a couple lifts on them still.
They're strong. They work out too. So they're a lot stronger than I am. So I'm kind of.
I was gonna say 16 too. That's like at an age where like probably grown more.
Oh yeah.
Versus like before puberty, you still
Yeah.
got a chance, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, my kids, like, they're pretty good. They know how important it is to work out and things. So I think
That's
that's
awesome.
another thing. I think when you're an adult and you're a mom or you're a dad, show yourself, you're showing an example to your kids, right? You want them to be
Yeah.
active. So eating and exercising, I think that carries down. Your kids see it, your grandkids
Yep.
see it. And I think that's important too. I mean, you're showing them what health is, you know?
And it's probably, I'm not a parent, but I assume it's way more effective them seeing it
Oh,
versus them
100%.
just being told it. You know,
Yeah.
if you're telling your kids they need to be health conscious and eat better and make sure that they're staying active, and then you're a lazy bum on the couch watching TV eating potato chips and you're way out of shape,
Right.
then they're going to be
Right.
like, why would I do that? My mom,
Exactly.
my
You're
dad doesn't do
100%
that.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. Your kids model, they model what you do, and, you want them to, if you're doing something good for yourself, for sure.
Yeah. And then kind of going back to what you said about like how the mindset that women have when they go to the gym, and this also relates to guys, it kind of sounds like goal setting is
Yeah.
like going to be a huge piece of that, and understanding that, yes, progress might be slow sometimes. What
Yeah.
would you say somebody should expect in those first few weeks, and like how important is goal setting?
Yeah, goal setting is very important at all ages. Again, now obviously somebody that's in their 20s or 30s that's just starting out is probably going to be able to do a lot more than somebody in their 40s and over. And I tell clients that you have to be patient with yourself depending on your age and what you're facing that way. But yeah, goal setting, I would say within the first maybe 2 to 4 weeks of your training, whether you're doing one of our workouts or your own, you know. First couple weeks, take it slow. Find something, like I said, you like to do. And then maybe within the third week or so, let's introduce something new. Maybe it's, like I said, some lightweight training, take a class at the gym, just learning what else is out there. Because there's so much more out there than just probably what you're already doing, whether it's, like I said, a cardio piece, which is great. But, we want to work on, some core work for your body. And like I said, education comes into a big part of that too, because a lot of people don't even know what a core workout entails. So
Yeah.
I think learning about it and learning why you're doing what you're doing. Why am I weight training? This is why you're weight training. Why do I need to do my core? I think that's a big part of it. But setting goals, I think you want to have realistic goals. You want to know, like, maybe within the first month, you're going to really start. I tell my clients probably within the first couple weeks, if you're following one of our workout plans and nutrition plans, you're going to start seeing some results. You're going to see you're going to feel your clothes fitting differently. Photos, you're going to see yourself maybe looking a little more muscular, toned. But I think, like I said, as you go along, I think you need to set a goal maybe once a month to change something up, whether it's a new workout, adding something, changing up the weights, maybe just trying something new. But I think, and then add on to that as you go, and then eventually get it more intense workouts too, like HIIT and things like that, which I would definitely recommend for somebody in their 20s and 30s that's really trying to make a difference. After that first month or so of getting into it, add in HIIT. That's a huge part of a training program.
And explain just what HIIT is real quick.
Yeah, you're talking high intensity interval training, and that's probably one of the hardest trainings you can do for your body, but it's one of the most effective and quick ways to work out. And what you're doing with that type of workout is you're elevating your heart rate pretty high, and then you're taking it down, and then you're repeating it. It's kind of like going up and down on a cycle, whether it's like 20 seconds of high knees, and then you're marching for 10 seconds, and you're going back at it again. So you're tricking your heart rate, you're getting it up and down, up and down. And what that's doing is it's really training your heart and your body to really function at a better level in your rest mode. And you're going to notice that your metabolism is going to really increase, and you're going to be burning a lot of fat in that as well. And that's the goal of the program, right? You want to burn off fat and you want to increase your metabolism. And that, to me, is one of the best exercises you can do. They say not to do it more than 2 or 3 times a week, but you will find that it will make a lot of your other exercises seem much easier, without a doubt.
No, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always I always recommend, like, if people are, and it goes back to what we said about like the time thing. Like, if people say they don't
Totally.
have time to work out, it's like, well, a HIIT workout can literally be done in 15 minutes.
Oh, without
And
a
that's
doubt.
with
Yeah.
that's with a short warm up and a short cool down.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
can be very,
And so,
very
like, these
hard.
workouts,
It's so intense.
Oh, they can be, and those are some of the, and I said that like some of the best workouts that I get are like the lifts that I have like for a very short time period. HIIT workouts are some
Yeah.
of the hardest workouts I've ever done because
Oh,
it's,
without a
and
doubt.
what's beautiful about them is, and we'll talk about this more within the exercise tips episode that we have. But what's beautiful about HIIT is that it can be completely catered to your level, you know?
Yes.
And so it's all based on heart rate. And so like if I have a higher threshold than somebody who's just getting started, I can push myself much, much harder and go much,
Right.
much faster and go much more intense so that my heart rate gets up there versus their heart rate is going to get just as high as mine from less intensity.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
But
right.
every exercise can be made so that it works for whoever is doing it. And so, yeah, you don't have to have a specific workout that's made for beginners or made for intermediate people or advanced people. It can be high. Like I could do high knees and get a great HIIT workout done versus somebody who's just getting started today can do high knees and get a great workout done. And so, and
100%.
like I said, some of my HIIT workouts have been less than 10 minutes.
I know.
And so like if I'm
They're
just
tiring.
like at the gym and I don't have time, they're brutal.
They're brutal.
And like one of my favorite ones are sprints just because of the effect that testosterone or sprints have on testosterone. That's one of my favorite things to do when I'm doing HIIT workouts.
Yeah.
I'll do 15, maybe 20-second sprints. I'll do 20 seconds off. I'll do 10 rounds of that and I'll be done. And I think
Done.
that's like 6 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like nothing.
Climbing
know?
stairs in
So-
your house is another thing you can do. You don't even have to have any equipment. You have a staircase. You can see one
Yeah,
behind.
good point.
You go up and down, and your heart rate will climb so fast. And you do that, and then you take a couple laps around your house, and then you repeat it. It's like there's so many things you can do that you don't even have to have a gym for. You can do things in your house.
Yeah.
You can find things you can.
Or
and like I said,
or to sprint on the sidewalk.
yeah. And like I said, in our workouts that we have, we have the HIIT recommendations. So there's different things you can find there too, for variety. So I always tell
Right.
my clients, do the HIIT workouts. They're out there. There's some examples for you,
Yeah. Yeah, no. And for anybody listening, all of the V-Shred programs have most of the V-Shred programs have HIIT workouts incorporated. That's like one of the backbones of
Yeah.
our programs, just because like you said, probably 85% of people say they don't have enough time to work out. And so we get rid of that excuse by being like, okay, do you have 20 minutes? If you say
Yeah.
you don't have 20 minutes, you are lying.
Yeah.
Or you just are really bad at time management.
Yeah.
And we got to
yeah,
fix
right,
that,
right.
you know? So, and then when it comes to plateaus, that's another big topic that people struggle with, just because it can be extremely hard to stick
Yeah.
to your plan after you've hit a plateau.
Totally.
You're putting in all this work. Maybe you're getting results in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you're doing the same amount of work
Yeah.
and nothing's happening. And
Yep.
you've gone now and you've heard online that you just need to trust the process, and it's been 3 weeks and you haven't lost any weight. And you have no idea what to do. How can somebody manage or handle those setbacks or those plateaus? And what
Yeah.
should they do?
Yeah, and plateaus are going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable. It happens to all of us, and some plateaus are longer than others. Some clients think they're in a plateau after 2 weeks, and I said, "You're not in a plateau. You don't have to lose weight every week. You may not. Just depending on your weight, it's going to fluctuate. But plateau, what I always tell the clients is something needs changed. Your body's comfortable. When you're at a plateau, you got to change something up. Whether it means we change up your eating plan a little bit. Maybe we need to reduce the carbs a little bit. Maybe you're eating too many carbs, on a carb cycling. Maybe we need to go to a low carb plan. Definitely probably need to look into changing your activity somehow. Maybe you're doing the same type of workouts. I actually had a great example. I have a client who was in a plateau. I've had her for probably maybe a year and a half now. And I said, we need to really think about your training plan. She was doing the same thing over and over. And I put her on a custom training plan where I put in weight training for her. I put in core and compound movements. We were doing all kinds of things at once. And she, to this day, has lost weight and looks so much different than she did. And I think it's because we changed up her routine, and
So before she wasn't doing any kind of weights?
she was doing a little bit of I think on her own, but I don't think she had a set schedule. And I think
Gotcha.
she just needed something where she was changing up her routine. And I think to me, that's probably one of the best things you can do. If you're eating okay and your calories seem to be okay, then you need to make a change, probably in your workout plan Or you may need to change your sleeping habits too. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep where you know, your hunger hormones aren't working correctly, or you're not getting the benefits of your workouts because you're not sleeping enough. So something's got to change when you're at a plateau. If you've been at the same weight for what, 3, 4 weeks, maybe even more than that, depending on the person, then you need to change up something and do that. So that would be my recommendation for sure.
Yeah. No, and with the workouts, I would add one on to that is the intensity of the workouts.
Yeah.
I think that's one
Yeah.
that people can sometimes just overlook.
Yeah.
They think that they're working out with intensity, and then they go work out with somebody who works out with intensity, and they're
Yeah.
like, whoa, I wasn't working out with intensity. And I've
You're
had
right.
that happen to me so many times where I'm
Right.
just like, I think I work out all the time, and I have better
Yeah.
workouts. I have some days I get better workouts, some days I get worse workouts,
Yeah.
When I have like a gym partner, which I haven't had many gym partners in my life just because
Yeah.
I prefer working out alone just because
Along
my
with
schedule's
you.
kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And I just honestly like having that me time. But there have been times in my life when I have a gym partner, and when I have that gym partner, the intensity goes through the roof, and I get stronger, and I get more muscular, and I push more weights, and
Yeah.
I look better. And that's just because that's only because the intensity went up. And so
Yeah.
I do think that like I one of my friends, I've been helping him kind of get in shape on the side, and he eats pretty good. I think his diet could be cleaned up a little bit, but he eats pretty good. He is really good at managing stress. He's good at getting sleep, but he's really good about being consistent with his workouts. He works out all the time. He does
Yeah.
a good amount of cardio. Sometimes I'm even telling him to stop doing so much cardio and
Yeah,
just focus
yeah.
more on lifting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which I think is a great point for some people listening. More cardio is not the answer.
Right.
But it's his intensity of his workouts,
Yeah.
because he'll go and he'll do his 4 sets of 10. And I haven't worked out with him because he's across the country, but
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that he's not going to failure and then doing 2 more reps. He's not pushing himself to where he's like completely gassed after
Yeah.
a squat session.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
yeah.
drenched in sweat because he's watching his timer between sets to make sure that his rest is strictly 60 seconds and not 84 seconds
Yeah.
because he got caught on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I think that intensity piece can also add an extra
100%.
layer to how effective workouts can be.
And I want to encourage clients too, and don't always just focus on the scale. I think a lot of people do that, and then they think they're on maybe a plateau, or they're discouraged because the scale doesn't mean everything. I mean, I tell people, look at, other factors like how are your clothes fitting? Are you getting stronger? Look at pictures. I always get clients to send pictures to me, but every 4 weeks I ask for pictures, and they may not
Nice.
have lost a lot of weight, but they're like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize that my stomach looks different. I'm like, that's because you're changing your body composition and you don't even
Yep.
realize it. You know what I mean? So you have to look at other things. And I think people get so focused on the scale, and that can be very, very detrimental to their journey because it's not always about the scale.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I actually saw this video on, I think, Instagram the other day. It was just these 2 girls at the gym, and one of them like kind of hit like a little tricep
Yeah.
pose,
Yeah.
and she like she had a little tricep pop out, and they both freaked out. And like the caption on it was like, I didn't realize I even had triceps. This is the first time I've ever seen. And they were like both like freaking out because
Right.
of it. And so, but it just goes to show like maybe she wasn't losing weight, or like the scale's not always going to go down, because people don't realize that muscle weighs more than fat,
Right.
or it's more dense. A
Right.
pound of fat and a pound of muscle. It's like, what weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks? It's like, well, it's a pound. They weigh the same.
Right.
So a pound of
Right.
fat and a pound of muscle, they weigh the same, but muscle's more dense.
Yeah.
And so 1
look
pound of muscle looks like less
Yeah.
than 1 pound of fat. And so if you lose a
Absolutely.
pound of fat but gain a pound of muscle, you weigh the same, but it'll look like you lost like 3-4 pounds of fat, And
Yeah.
so I think the scale is a great piece. And then also you mentioned sleep. What is the importance of sleep? What are some tips you can give people about sleep? What should they expect if they get better sleep?
I can't even tell you how important sleep is. And I can't even tell you that I don't even think For me, I need 8 hours of sleep a night. Like that's me. I need to get enough rest. Everybody's different, but my recommendation is that everybody gets 7 hours of quality sleep. And the reason being, and not only because, it affects your energy, but it also affects how you eat the next day, because there's been a lot of studies
Yep.
shown that, if you're sleep deprived, your hunger hormones are thrown off. So
Yep.
you're feeling your hunger hormone that signals that you're full, is actually signaling that you're hungry. So the hunger hormones are all out of whack when you're not sleeping enough. So you'll notice that the days that you're maybe really tired, you're reaching for something with a carb in it because you feel like, God, I have no energy. I need some energy. So you're reaching for the wrong kinds of foods, and it's not even your fault. It's your body's way of reacting to being hungry. It's just, or I'm sorry, being sleep deprived. It thinks it needs fuel, and you choose the wrong types of foods. And I think when you're also for your workouts, if you need to replenish your body by sleeping, not only eating, sleeping, and hydrating, but sleeping is so important because you need to repair the muscles. You need to give the time muscles to grow. And the only way they're going to do that besides eating correctly is to get rest. So you need to
Yep.
sleep. And I think a lot of times people that have really crazy schedules where, a lot of people work like overnights, I think they really struggle because obviously it's not easy to get a really good amount of sleep during the day. I know a lot of people, I couldn't do it, but I think it's just harder on the body. I think you need to find a nice
Yeah.
schedule for yourself, where you get enough sleep through the night, and a lot of people don't sleep good. I think that's probably one of the biggest problems in America today is that we don't get enough sleep. There's just, people don't
Yeah.
have the time to sleep. They don't, they just don't get enough or quality sleep, but that's just not there.
Yep. It's almost been celebrated. Like I know when I was younger, it was almost celebrated if you didn't sleep.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you like pulling all-nighters was cool. Working late into the night and waking up super early was motivating,
Right.
versus now I'm the same way. Like I track my sleep every single night.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I'm getting like good REM. I make sure that I'm getting good deep sleep.
Yep.
I make sure that I'm getting a good total sleep. And so I'm like, I'd probably call that, that could possibly be called the most important aspect of getting in shape, because you could be
100%
dieting,
agree.
you could be working out, but if you're not getting sleep, you're not going to get results,
That's-
But you could also say, like, if you're getting great sleep, but you're not working out or not dieting, then you're not going to get results also. So there's like, you got to make sure that you have each piece, like I'd say the three main pieces of the puzzle, which is sleep, nutrition, and exercise. You get those three figured out, you're going to get results, you know?
100%
And
agree.
so,
Yeah.
and I think that what you said about like setting a schedule, like the circadian rhythm is a very real thing. And it's for anybody listening, it's your internal clock that your body has when it naturally starts getting more tired and when it naturally wakes up in the morning without an alarm clock.
Yeah.
And if you get on a regular schedule to where you start winding down the same time every single night, and your body gets used to you falling asleep at 10 p.m.,
Yeah.
and it gets used to you waking up at 6 a.m., eventually you're going to start getting really tired around 9 p.m.
Your body's
and you're
gonna
going to start
know.
waking up without an alarm clock at 5:36 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens over time. And I actually literally just heard Huberman talking about this, like I think on a podcast, like I think I saw this video 2 days ago, which is ironic. But he said 3 days is all it really takes for somebody's circadian rhythm to start adjusting. So like day one, waking up at 5 a.m. is going to be tough. And he says, wake up at 5 a.m. no matter what. I don't care if you went to bed at midnight. Wake up at 5 a.m. Because what you're going to be is way tired that night. And then when you're way tired that night, allow yourself to fall asleep earlier and wake up at 5 a.m. again. He said by day 3, your circadian rhythm already starts resetting.
Maybe I can find a new way to get up at 5 instead of 6 and I get more done. I can't get up before 6 no matter how hard I try.
I'm not a morning person, and so 6 is already early for me. I'm like a 7:30 guy.
Yeah.
I don't like going any earlier than that, but I also go to sleep a little bit later, and so like I get my 6 to 8 hours a night.
It works.
Trying to get as close to 8 as possible, but so I'm going to bed like midnight,
Yeah.
And so like I gotta sleep in because I don't like going to bed early. I know, but I do know people that go to bed at like 8 p.m. and then wake up at like 4 a.m., which is wild to me. But that's just how their body works, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really just comes down to figuring out, like you said, what works for you,
100%. Yeah.
And how would you say that, I hate to turn this this has been a great episode already. But I want to get into our next one here soon. But how would you say the V-Shred workouts can benefit somebody who's new to fitness?
Oh, I have a lot of clients that start off with us, and what we have is we have a master class that a lot of clients start off with, and it's a Facebook program that and I've never had a client come back and say they didn't like it. It's they're taught by our trainers here, and it's a nice intro into what the workouts if you do purchase a workout, it's a nice introduction to what the workouts are going to look like. So I say we have the master class. We have a move program that's a very beginner program as well for some of the people that are really new, or some of the older people that have a little bit more trouble with jumping and moving around quickly. And then we have our fat loss extreme, which is a great, like I said, these are all nice, short, effective body weight workouts. The FLE workouts, fat loss extreme. I would say majority of the clients I have those, and they really enjoy them, and you can fit them in your day. They're, like I said, they're quick 20, 30-minute workouts with varieties, upper, lower, core, HIIT suggestions, and some cardio suggestions. And then we have our Toned in 90 Days, which is a little bit more advanced than the FLE workouts. Same kind of format, but definitely harder. And again, all short, effective workouts. And then we also offer, as trainers, we do custom training plans, which I have a lot of clients that they really are life-changing workouts for these clients, because I add so many things to the workouts, and you choose your number of days that you want to do them for, and I try to give them a variety, and you change it up every month. So I think that's, like I said, I think it's the V-Shred workouts have there's so much to choose from, and then when you get done with one, you can purchase another one. So you keep advancing until you get to the custom training plan, and then we change those up too. So a lot of clients love them. I have never really heard. I hear a lot of great things about our workouts. So, and we have clients that can't do a certain thing. We maybe take them down into the move workout, or we do a custom training plan for a beginner client too, where it's just very beginner exercises. So it's very, very varied and very easy to do. So I think it's a great program.
I was going to mention even having a beginner start out with the custom approach.
Yeah.
Just because yes, I think it's good to have like a 90-day program that's kind of like a do-it-yourself, hold yourself accountable. I think that's got its time and its place for a lot of people. But I also think starting out with working with a coach who can remove all those objections that you have, where you're like, if you're doing a program and you're like, I can't do this exercise, or I don't have this food, or I don't like these meals, whatever the objection is, you have a coach that you can go to. First off, you probably don't even have to go to the coach to ask this, because the plan was custom catered to you. And so it's the workouts are made so that if you have a knee injury, or you've had a back surgery, or whatever it might be, the exercises are kind to you. And then same thing with the foods, or where in the world you live, or the foods that you like eating. Everything can be customized to you. And also I feel like with those types of plans, because you're able to ask questions, you learn so much more.
Definitely.
And so it becomes this educational piece where it's like, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Same thing with working out. If you give somebody the workout, they work out for a day. If you teach somebody how to work out and why it's important to work out and how to make adjustments, they might not ever have to get a plan again, because they have an understanding of what to do.
Yeah.
So
100% agree with that.
I think that's a great point. But anything else you would like to say to anybody who is just getting started in their fitness journey before we hop off here?
No, like I said, I think we've covered everything. I think you just need to, I always say, give yourself grace and be patient with yourself, because you're going to run into bumps in the road, and you're going to have, some things that you may get frustrated with along the way. But ultimately, you have to tell yourself, you're doing it for you and your family and your longevity, and, you're going to feel better. I can't stress that enough, how different you will feel even after just a week of clean eating and some exercise. It'll carry over to so many different facets of your life. And I can promise you that it's just nothing that I can't tell you any differently how good it is for you to do that. Kids, adults, elderly people, it's for everybody.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because they've been eating poorly or not being active for so long. But once you once your body gets used to you fueling it properly, getting that movement in, getting those endorphins on like a daily basis.
Yeah, you're going to need
Once
it.
you do that long enough, and then all of a sudden you stop doing it for a little bit, you realize, wow, I felt way better before. Sure. And versus not doing any of that. And yeah, I mean, there's the aspect of like, if I'm sick or I have an injury, I do have a little bit more time in the day because I don't have to worry about going to the gym and working out,
Right.
But I miss it. And when I get back to being in the gym, I'm so much happier. Yes, 100%. I have slightly less time, but I'm feeling way better, which is more than worth it to me.
And I feel like I said, I get more energy after I work out, whereas like, hey, I'm probably going to get more work done. I work really till in the evening, pretty late sometimes. And I have the energy to do that because I took time during the day to for myself and worked out. And I can't stress that enough.
I'm the same way. I work out midday. I'll wake up, knock out some work, go to the gym, work out, and then come back, knock out some more work. And it's a nice little like midday. And I know not everybody has that ability to do that. So you do have to find a schedule that works for you. But once and try a bunch of different stuff. Try waking up a little bit earlier. See if maybe you are a morning person. You didn't realize it. You just needed to give yourself 2 weeks of waking up early to find out. Try doing it. If you do work from home, try doing it just midday at home.
Lunch break. Yeah.
Try if you can't get there until after work and you got to stop at the gym on the way home, just do it and see if you can get into a routine that you actually like. And also, I always say, like, once you start seeing results, it becomes a little bit of an addiction.
Definitely.
So in the beginning, it can be tough because you've been out of shape for so long. You don't really know what you're doing. You're getting kind of sore. You haven't been doing it long enough to get results. And then all of a sudden, pants are fitting a little bit looser. Or for guys, maybe your sleeves are fitting a little bit tighter or whatever it might be. And you're just realizing that like you're starting to get results, and that becomes motivating to continue pushing yourself. So I love what you said about just give yourself grace.
Definitely.
Be patient with it. And it's everything that we talked about. Yeah.
And every day, like I said, take one day at a time. You may have some off days, but you'll get back on it. You just have to have the right mindset for sure.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I think we covered a lot, and hopefully everybody listening learned a lot. And if you are thinking about starting your own fitness journey, hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight of what to expect and what to look out for and some things to avoid, things to do instead. And if you guys are wanting to get a program, if you're wanting to work with one of our coaches, if you want to work with Kim directly, go ahead and there should be a link somewhere around. I don't know which camera to look at right now, but there should be a link above, below somewhere to sign up, or just go to our website, vshred.com. We have all of our programs there. But again, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of V-Shred's Better Body, Better Life podcast. Whether you're doing one of our programs, taking our supplements, or just doing things on your own, tune in every week for exclusive content with Vince, V-Shred trainers, and special guests as they share valuable tips around motivation, workouts, food, and living a healthier lifestyle. See you next time.